is Adventureruler, and today I want to show you guys the tournament run of Meowier, the official two-time champion of the UnDying Light tournament. That's right, Meowier has won these tourneys back-to-back, getting first place in the third and fourth of these tourneys. And this is crazy, because to start us off is Sonic38 and Meowier, the Grand Finals players from the tournament previous. That's insane, right? Because I don't know if you guys know, but every time I create the bracket, I randomize the seed one time, only once, and then I publish it. I don't edit and I don't redo nothing. I put the names in and boom, I let the website do the rest. Anyways, let's just jump right in. Set number 1 of the UnDying Light tournament number 4 will be Sonic38 versus Meowier, the Grand Finals fighters from last tournament. They take it to Yoshi's story. So right off the bat, I noticed Sonic chooses Pac-Man to fight Meowier this time around, instead of Diddy Kong. Sonic goes straight to place a hydrant at the farthest left of the stage and begins to charge his fruit. During this, Meowier tries to get the hydrant out of the way. Sonic gets first blood by hitting the hydrant from off stage with an up air, which then it bounces and hits Meowier right in the head. Both scrap for a bit, and when Sonic was hit upwards, he drops his hydrant. He tries to get a setup with Galaga, the Galaga item, behind the hydrant, but Sonic challenges it with a shoulder bash that clanks with the Galaga item. My bad. Meowier challenges it with a shoulder bash. I wrote the wrong name in the script here. Meowier jumps and hits Sonic with a flying kick that also hits their hydrant, which gets knocked into Sonic for even more damage. Later in the fight, Sonic manages to get a setup from hydrant and gets some damage and even the percentages. As the fight goes on, Sonic was fighting very nimble, and Meowier just couldn't get a grasp of the situation. In neutral, Sonic runs in and holds shield, and Meowier tries for a shin kick, but Sonic actually parries it and takes the first stock with an up smash. Later in the match, Sonic was just swinging, using Pac-Man's quick and high jumps to keep Meowier guessing. But Meowier does finally manage to find the stock by whiff punishing Sonic's ledge sweep with a Terry burning knuckle. The second stock was looking more in Meowier's favor, as he was just finding his moments to strike. He finds Sonic's second stock with a drop from left platform with a sweet spot down air, then catches Sonic trying to air dodge towards top lat with a true rising tackle, taking the stock at only 104. That ceiling is crazy. The next stock Sonic takes was in neutral. He throws his bell item, but Meowier blocks it. Meowier jumps over him and tries to land a spinning back kick upon landing, but Sonic threw out a Pac-Man ghost at the same time. He wins the trade, and Meowier takes Meowier's second stock. When Sonic least expected it, Meowier hit him with a crack shoot, and personally, I think Sonic just didn't DI correctly. But maybe he was already at kill percent, right? Because he was hit by this attack at 141, right? So maybe that could have killed any character. Match 2 of set number 1 of the tournament. Sonic goes for a double counter pick, right? He switches up the stage and the character. I kind of like this. And I think Sonic is trying out different matchups against Meowier. Maybe Sonic is trying to learn more about his opponent as the tournament's going along. Because something tells me Sonic will not stay down, right? Sonic takes the fight to Lilac Cruz and switched to Banjo-Kazooie. So, these two really were going back and forth in the first minute of the match. Sonic was hitting him with Kazooie eggs, right, and trying to go for neutral airs. Some landed, some were blocked, but Meowier was just getting harder hitting openings. Meowier takes the first stock by blocking Sonic's intercepting Kazooie slam, then jab and a rising tackle. When he was at 151. Meowier didn't stop the chase though. He was smacking Sonic around with their Terry combos, and then Sonic did a Wonder Wing to try and catch a landing, but finds himself in the right corner of the map. Then Meowier kept him cornered by going for a Buster Wolf that went through his Kazooie egg and took a second stock in a row at only 78. Go is quite the mechanic. Meowier then taunts Sonic, which I think is uncalled for and a little disrespectful if you ask me, but hey, he's the champion, right? Not me. A few seconds later, Sonic finally lands a Wonder Wing after missing a few this match, taking his first stock at 113. Not too long later, Sonic throws eggs and intercepts with nairs, but Meowier slips by him with an aerial power dunk, which Sonic tried to punish with a forward smash, but Meowier was behind him when he landed. So Meowier cleans up the 2-0 with a shin kick into Burning Knuckle. Meowier moves further into the tournament, and now going up against Yinkanai. That's my boy Javon from back in the day, if you know, you know. He finally joined the tournament. Personally, I think it's weird that he went Bowser, right, of all characters, because I know he's got a swordsman, but hey, right, that's his weapon of choice, not mine. Anyways, Yinkanai and Meowier fight on Yoshi's story. So the first 30 seconds, Meowier is going aggro, right, as they do, cornering Yinkanai, right, just dropping on him with combos and confirms. Yinkanai was able to get stray hits here and there, but Meowier finds the first stock by catching Yinkanai double jumping towards center stage. About a minute in, Meowier finds another stock, but this time catching Yinkanai's landing kind of aggressively, without actually, aiming, and jumps right into Meowier's forward smash. Yinkanai was able to get a few hits here and there, but Meowier gets him off stage. Meowier tries to go for a power dunk edge guard, but misses in SDs. Listen, I respect it, right? He tried to go for the 3-stock spike finish. But Meowier had another trick up his sleeve. Only a few seconds later, Meowier accidentally did a crack shoot the opposite way and cornered himself. Now this is a perfect position for Yinkanai to pressure his opponent. Yinkanai goes for a burst option, but Meowier just jumps right over it with power dunk, and when Yinkanai turned around to continue his chase, Meowier just swung that big old leg and intercepted his approach with a spinning back kick to end Game 1. Game 2, Yinkanai goes for a double counter pick. He switches to Inkling and takes the fight to Pokemon Stadium 1. And in only 15 seconds, Meowier got the first stock. This happened because Meowier's first opening was a parry punish. Then he shot Yinkanai with a power wave, and then Yinkanai decided to choose regular getup as their ledge option. Meowier timed the one frame and comboed it to a power dunk, landing the spike hitbox as well. A 0 to death, all in the first 15 seconds. Hazard doesn't even show up yet, and Meowier's looking hazardous himself, bro. About a minute later, Meowier takes another stock. This was because Yinkanai did block their attack, right? Did block their approach, but when they went to punish them with his Ink Blaster, Meowier beat him to the punch with the jab, rising tackle. Yinkanai was just about half a second off with his counterattack too. Now, on Yinkanai's final stock, now he was looking more in the zone, jumping around, keeping Meowier guessing where he'll move next. Yinkanai managed to get a stock of his own, killing him with up air as Meowier tried to attack while trying to land from above. Not too long later, Yinkanai is still giving Meowier those hands, finding his openings, capitalizing on advantages. As Meowier is hot on his tail, Yinkanai rolls away to create distance. Then, a bad guess from Meowier causes him to eat Yinkanai's paintbrush roller to the legs, which gets him dug into the ground. Yinkanai cleans up a second stock in a row with his Ink Blaster. Yinkanai seemed to start getting the grasp on Meowier's fighting style, but Meowier tries for a dash attack in neutral. Yinkanai blocks it, but the speed of Meowier's jab just couldn't let Yinkanai counterattack in time, and they jab and a rising tackle for another 2-0. Next match, Meowier finally makes it to semifinals. It didn't take too long. And, guess who's in semifinals once again? The Drakester. Game 1, they go to Yoshi's story. Now, these were actually going back and forth in the first minute, right? Drake having a good sense of positioning against Meowier, and on the other hand, Meowier landing those crack shoots in neutral, right, to stay as close as possible to Drake at all times. But about a minute into the fight, Meowier tries for a raw burning knuckle as Drake was back was to the ledge. This puts Meowier behind Drake. Drake goes for the counter punch, but he missed his back air, as he missed because he jumped a little too high. Drake tries to still try to find a punish even after going off stage with an up air, but Meowier saw it coming. They block it and combo into a burning knuckle to take the first stock. Only a few seconds later, another badass moment in the UnDying Light tournament, which you don't see nowhere else, boy. As Drake recovered from the platform, he was on a chase. Meowier crack shoots, but personally, I think he did it the wrong way. as this move put them off stage. Drake snipes Meowier with a PK fire, and as they were trying to recover, but Randall moved himself underneath Meowier, which kept Meowier from being able to DI out of the flames, and Drake cleans up the first stock with a spike. Not bad, Drakester. Not bad. Later in the fight, Meowier and Drake are going back and forth. Meowier sticking close to Drake, and Drake going for counter punches. But one time in neutral, both players show great respect for each other's options. Both were holding shield at a standstill, but Meowier stops the stoppage by rolling behind Drake, which puts them in the perfect position to pressure his shield. Drake, just a second off in his reaction, eats a kick to the legs and loses his stock to Power Geyser. Drake isn't just out yet though. When he returned to the battle, he follows Meowier with 2 PK Thunders in a row, taking the second stock. Sometimes the stocks, right, taking stocks is as simple as 1, 2, 3. The fight continues as Meowier gets their combos, and Drake snipes them with PK fires, and to seal game 1 was Drakester. Nice. Drake catches Meowier's regular getup by charging up smash right at ledge. Drake actually took a match off the previous champion. Game 2. Meowier is now a match down. Mishima Dojo is his favorite stage to go, bro. Meowier excels in this stage, as he is beating Drake in almost every interaction, taking the first stock in under a minute with Rising Tackle. As the match continues, Meowier is running all over Drake with her combos, but Drake eventually managed to get a good approach. Drake fell with a back air on Meowier, which he blocked, and tried to punish with a down tilt into Burning Knuckle combo, but Drake auto-cancelled his falling back air, so he was able to act in time to block Meowier's counterattack. Drake proceeds to punish Burning Knuckle with a sour spot back air, and Meowier failed to tack, so Drake just ran in and up smashed him to get a stock of his own. Only a few seconds later, Drake tries to PK fire in neutral, but Meowier was already on his way to chase Drake down with a power dunk. So before the magic's ability even came out, Meowier was already punching Drake in the head. Not too long later, Meowier decides to keep Drake cornered, and with too much weight on Drake's shoulders, he tried to come out swinging to combat the aggression, but Meowier was ready to whiff punish with a forward smash. Now, the set is a 1-1. And unfortunately, at the time, I was so invested in the match, I wasn't paying attention, right, to the stream. So like about 2 minutes were not caught on footage of Drake versus Meowier game 3. My bad, guys. But from what I was able to film, Drake was getting his ass spiked. Yeah. Props to Drake for taking the game off one of the Undying Light champions, but 2-1 goes to Meowier. And now, Grand Finals of the Undying Light Tournament number 4. Namek, a newcomer to the tournament, and a runner-up, or backup you could say. There was a player that wanted to play in the tournament, but they were a no-show, and with that, Namek filled in for them and made it all the way to Grands. Nice job, Namek. Game 1, you know it, you've seen it, it's Yoshi's story. So of course, your final fighters in Grands are going back and forth. Those percents were even. But Meowier does get the first stock by doing an uppercut to anti-air, Namek landing with a falling neutral air. Only a few seconds later, Namek, not afraid to approach with the same move that got him killed, goes for another magic spin and uses the attack to pull Meowier close. Does a sweep to keep Meowier from using any quick attacks, and then does grab and throws him after a few pummels. Then, to clean up the first stock, he freezes Meowier right out of the sky as he tried to land with air dodge. Later in the match, something really strange happened, which personally, I think it was BS, right? And Meowier did not deserve this solely on the fact that it makes no sense, right? Logically, it doesn't make sense. In the fight, when Namek was hit off stage by Meowier, he tries to skip grabbing ledge, right, with the snake, and hit Meowier with a magical kick. And during his approach, he kept his momentum towards the stage to land. But Meowier throws out an uppercut, which somehow lands even though Namek was behind them. Don't ask me, ask Nintendo. But after this nonsense kill, Meowier was just positioning well and winning neutral consistently. Then, when Namek was going to recover on the left side of the stage, Meowier goes for a Hail Mary Burning Knuckle off stage, and Namek, unknowingly, jumps right into it. That was a pretty sick stock, because you got to predict where your opponent will be if you're using the slow burning knuckle, right? Because it's so slow. Game 1 goes to Meowier. Game 2, Namek goes to Mishima Dojo. And personally, I was really confused that day, because that's normally Meowier's counterpick stage. So I thought there was a confusion between the players, but it was actually me. Game 2 was looking as even as Game 1. But I noticed Namek was landing more PK fires and just playing the zone game more well than last match. Namek actually gets the first stock in this game. After being thrown to the left wall, Meowier tries a sneaky auto-cancel landing with Power Dunk into an immediate Power Geyser. But Namek was ready with a forward air to beat him to the punch, or beat him to the kick in this case. Like 3 seconds later though, Meowier drops from the Angel platform, Power Dunks Namek right through the wall, getting a stock for himself. It wasn't the end of Meowier's relentless aggression though, as when Namek returned to the fight, Meowier was running all over him, not letting him breathe, taking another stock from Namek with a Power Dunk. Later in the fight, Namek gets a grab on Meowier, sending his body through the right wall. Meowier, trying to recover and maybe get a reversal at the same time, goes for a Power Dunk. But I like to believe that the broken wall to the right that Meowier went through delayed his Power Dunk for a sec, right? Because it has that multi-hitting as he's rising, you know? Because Namek saw their attack coming and punished the landing cleanly with a swing of Lucas's wooden stick, sending Meowier back off stage. A second stock for Namek, evening the fight up. Later in the match, Meowier is just breathing down Namek's neck with the aggro play, and faster than lightning jabs. Gets the final stock of the match with a rising tackle. Game 3. Namek goes back to Mishima Dojo. Both these players swinging. But Namek gets the upper hand by pressuring Meowier's shield this time around. With a sweep and a grab, Namek throws Meowier off stage, and to clean up the edge guard, he shoots a PK fire in the opening in the wall. Another first stock for Namek. But no fear, right? From Meowier just runs at Namek, hitting his shield. Namek drops his shield maybe to try and intercept, but Meowier tries the stock with a Power Dunk. Takes the stock with a Power Dunk. Excuse me. Now, this stock Namek looking more fluid on the battlefield, right? Like with his movement. But Meowier doesn't let it get to him. As Namek decides to approach, Meowier parries his attack twice in a row, mind you, punishes it with a combo into Burning Knuckle, chases him down with the back air. Unfortunately, that one was the sour spot, but not to worry, because Meowier then doubles down. When Namek tries the ledge jump, goes for another one. Not too long later, Namek jumps over Meowier to get into position for a back throw to clean up his next stock. After more intense trades between the fighters, and another badass clip! Only here, bro! Namek was able to land a forward tilt in neutral, sending Meowier off stage. And at a low angle, right? That's good for Namek, but really bad timing and really bad luck for Meowier. Mishima's dojo's wall began to reconstruct itself during Meowier's recovery. But from quick thinking from Meowier, they decide to rising tackle early, right? To just barely clear the height of that said wall. But Namek is ready for the edge guard and does a PK freeze where Meowier was gonna be. Namek freezes Meowier midair, but instead of flying to the right and to his death, his frozen body, right, bounces off that same wall, right, and it sends him to the left. Meowier breaks out of the ice, but eventually Namek caught Meowier with another grab and a back throw. That was awesome. Man, I love hazards. Now, Meowier and Namek's final match. They take it right back to Mishima Dojo. And I gotta say, that's pretty ballsy by Meowier to go back to a stage that screwed him over. Hey, talk about fearless, right? So in this final match, Namek now has a good grasp of how to zone Meowier in neutral. Props to him for adapting in the matchup, by the way. About 40 seconds into the fight, Meowier tried to catch Namek jumping high above him, but the overextension gave Namek an easy grab into back throw. Meowier lives it though, and lets the stage engulf him back to the stage, right? Because that's how Mishima Dojo works, right? If it's half a wall, right, the game's not going to screw you, right, by letting you fall. But Namek was ready to complete the edge guard with his sidekick, midair sidekick. After the edge guard, Namek was looking clean, He was swinging for the fences, and Meowier was just eating it all. To combat this, Meowier tries for a power geyser to try and get some space, or maybe intercept Namik's aggression, but Namik blocks it and counterpunches it with a magical backhand, and no tech from Meowier seals his second stock in a row for Namik. Meowier finally gets Namik hanging on ledge, and when Namik tries to get a sneaky PK Thunder, Meowier just ignored it. He just ran in with a shoulder bash to take one stock for himself. Throughout this intense final match, Meowier and Namik were going back and forth. Both players have fought long enough to figure out each other's fighting styles, and now it was whoever could space an attack or read the other's option. At the right side of the stage, Namik tries for a grab in neutral, but Meowier intercepts this with a burning knuckle and punches Namik straight to the blast zone. Now stocks are even. But then, Meowier brings it into overdrive. Now they're finding openings and running with it. But Namik is making sure to get licks of his own. Near the end of the match, we see a similar interaction between fighters. Namik with his back to the wall and Meowier throwing out a raw burning knuckle in neutral. This time, Namik beat him to the punch and landed the grab and goes for back throw. See, and you'd think it's all over for Meowier, but he teched off the wall. They were at 92%, right? So personally, I don't know if it would have killed, but it still would have been a really bad position for Meowier, right? He can get edge guarded by Namik. So, who knows? This interaction may or may have not been what saved Meowier's tournament run. This frame y'all are looking at right now. Seconds later, Meowier is trying to stay close, and Namik trying to stay airborne, right, and fish for those grabs. And I just gotta say, this final interaction is some Street Fighter shit, bro. In neutral, and only inches from each other, Namik tries to beat Meowier to the punch with a sweep, but Namik extended his leg, right? He has to extend that leg for that sweep. Meowier's crouching kick landed on Namik's leg, confirming into the burning knuckle and winning the UnDying Light Tournament number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed my overview analysis of Meowier's tournament run. Remember, I host this tournament on the last Saturday of every month. If you'd like to join them, just join my live stream at 7 p.m. Eastern Time and ask. This UnDying Light tournament was held on April 26th, 2025. Congratulations to Meowier. Everybody, you fought well. Thanks for watching.
you.